Did you really choose to incarnate here on planet Earth? And the death of Archangel Metatron. Now, before we get into things, I just want to say, if you're one of those love and light kind of people, you might want to scroll on because you might be a little bit too sensitive for this video. However, if you've become aware that the true path to ascension is learning to love all aspects of yourself, including your shadow side, then come with me. I have a good one for you. Come on. You know what irritates me almost as much as ignorant donkeys sending you black magic? It's when people say you chose to incarnate here. So why is that? It's because they're either saying that for one of two reasons. Either they don't know what they're talking about and they're just saying that, going with the status quo, or they're a lying, deceiving piece of shit like Archangel Metatron. You know, one thing I've found in common with a lot of light workers is they all feel like they didn't sign up for this shit, meaning incarnating on planet Earth, and many of them have a calling to go home. On October 20th, 2020, I had a visitation from the soul of Jesus. And do you know what happens when you have a visitation from the soul of Jesus? His energy is so powerful and loving that it clears away any fog and confusion that you may be experiencing. And shortly after that experience, I started to remember being a soul before I incarnated here. I started to remember having conversations with my guides and angels and telling them how this life path that they had planned out for me was actually a bad idea. And that's when my highest guide came up to me and put his arm around my shoulder and said, don't worry, you'll be just fine. Well, in 2014, I tried to leave this place, and if it wasn't for Archangel Michael appearing, I wouldn't be here. And in 2020, after my divorce, I actually wanted to leave more than in 2014 when I actually tried to, but Archangel Michael showed me that that was no longer an option. So why does all that matter? See, when you incarnate onto planet Earth, if you don't open up your heart, you don't ascend. And if you do the opposite, then that's when you get to spend some time in hell. And when I became aware of just how willing my highest guide was to gamble with my soul going to hell, you could say I became absolutely furious. One day when I was focusing on how much rage I had towards my highest guide for this reason, the next thing I knew, it was like I was watching a movie in my third eye. I saw myself as this massive angel out in space, and I bent over and I was looking down, and this portal to hell opened up, and I leaned even closer and I said, any beings down there that take out my highest guide will be held in my highest honor. What I didn't know at the time was that my highest guide, this red-headed Viking, was actually a fractal of Archangel Metatron. Now, if you've been following me for a while, or you've read my biography, you may have heard me talk about the time I was sitting in my garage, and the next thing I knew, it was as if the lights started flashing, and this black and white portal with bunch of static electricity started flashing right in front of my eyes. That's when Metatron's arms reached out and tried to grab me as he was saying, you have no idea how many problems you've caused me. That's when I saw myself as a huge angel once again, and I pulled out my sword from on my back and I placed it through this portal and I stuck it in between his eyes into his third eye. What I didn't realize at the time was that this was actually Archangel Metatron's attempt to get rid of me and take my life, you could say. So for any light workers out there that have ever questioned, what the fuck am I doing here? I didn't sign up for this shit. Just know that Archangel Metatron is most likely responsible for swindling you into coming here in the first place. The truth is, most souls had no idea just how bad the energy was going to be before they came here, and had to be lied to, manipulated, and deceived into coming here. And since Archangel Metatron tried to take me out in the physical, Archangel Metatron is going to experience the wrath of Lord Shiva at about 110%. And when I'm done with him, there's going to be multiple days of darkness down here on planet Earth. Why? Because I'm going to take this Archangel that's a wannabe god with an overinflated ego, and I'm going to cut off his head with my pinky finger. And then I'm going to hold his overinflated head right in front of the sun. And this is so all the good souls that got stuck in hell because Archangel Metatron told them, don't worry, you'll be just fine, before they came here, can have a moment of justice.